tell you what, week one. I mean, we've been waiting all season, all summer for this. But I tell you what, it's an exciting time because it is here. Welcome in to the Keep Prowling podcast. I'm your host, DJ Beal, and I don't know. He was a legend in the making the last couple shows, but he might be the best dressed man in the room right now.
I just got off the set doing the morning show, but you know how it is. Yeah, I wish I was more dressed to what you're wearing. That's more my liking, but it is what it is. So I appreciate you having me, man. I really do.
Of course. Lawrence Gilligan from WCCB News, rising the morning anchor.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, sometimes I don't see how you do it. I'm going to be honest with you. I would still be getting the sleep out of my eyes at 9 o'clock. So, I mean, you know, what time do you get here? Just so people can see a little peek into your life.
Oh, man. Well, I wake up probably around 2:30 or so. And luckily I get back, I shower and do all that stuff pretty quickly. So I'm probably here to the station, and I live only like a mile away. So I'm here probably around 3:05 or so. And you start getting ready, you're putting this stuff on, painting your face, all that stuff, probably around 4:15 or so, because the show starts at 5. But yeah, it's a long day, but I don't mind it, man, because you know what? Hey, when you guys are strolling into work, I'm leaving, so it works out.
You've already had your day.
I've already had my day, man, so I can't complain.
But let's get into what we've been waiting on.
Yeah,
right. Because I mean, you've been on the show a couple times, and you were like, I mean, when the season starts, you know, I like this offseason stuff. It's fun and all.
Let's just get there.
But it's just like the real deal, Holyfield. That's what we need.
I know, man. I know, and I love college football's okay. You know, when it comes to the NFL, man, there's nothing like it. So I'm like, last week it was like, all right, college football's on, like great, you know, like, let's get to Thursday. We're almost there, man. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting, and of course you got Detroit and Kansas City.
Yeah,
starting off the season.
Yeah.
What's Detroit gonna be? We know what Kansas City is. We know what they've been.
Right.
But an upset for Detroit could, you know,
it's a possibility. Well, now with Travis Kelce possibly being out with that knee injury, it'll be interesting, you know.
It'll be enemy for Kansas City.
Right.
How big of an impact did he make? For that team?
It'll be interesting. Yeah, you know, and I think I always like week one because I feel like the underdogs are the teams that aren't supposed to win somehow always pull. You're like, wait, Detroit beat who? You know, you're like, what's going on? Oh, it's a long season. I get that. But week one's always a lot of upsets.
I always say, you know, those first 4 weeks of the season are kind of like the preseason after the preseason.
It really is.
You know, because like you still trying to fine tuning that new offense, you fine tuning that new defense, those new pieces, trying to figure out where to go. Yeah. You know, so
non-division game too. You know, for those guys. So it's like if you lose to Detroit, you lose to Detroit. You know, what can you do?
Yeah, and that's a little peek into later on in the show. We're gonna get too much into it. That is the first game of the season though. We ain't gonna get too much into it right now. We're gonna do picks at the very, very end. Let's get to what everybody who listens to the podcast want to know about, and that's Carolina Panthers. Okay, so a lot of expectation, a lot of hype. There's you know, I'm gonna be honest. I was on the way to work today. I was on the way to the office. I saw a couple more Carolina Panthers flags out there. I saw a couple more license plates out right now. A couple jerseys walking around. You know, so because of that. There's a lot of excitement. I don't think there's been. We talked about this before. There hasn't been this kind of buzz since probably Cam Newton was around. When he got drafted, I was like, okay, this might be the turnaround we've been looking for. Yeah. Have you seen anything, you know, through the grapevine or anything?
Well, yeah, I just think people are excited, man. You get the number 1 pick, Bryce Young. He looked okay in preseason. I mean, he only had, 24 pass attempts. You can't really put anything to that, right? But it's the excitement, man. It's a new season. Everybody's, going into the year. You know, what I am kind of weary of, which is, like I said, those week 1 matchups, anything can happen, right? So playing on the road at Atlanta, in division, right out of the gate, you can be 0-1, or, hey, you can steal one in Atlanta. You know what I mean? And so it's exciting, man. I think people around town are pumped, like you said. I mean, it's we just want them to do well. You want them to play well. I think it honestly, you see the pride here in Charlotte, man, and all the fans and the diehards that just want to see a good product on the field. They want to see someone be competitive, man. And they did last year towards the end. You know, they really caught fire towards the end there. And so hopefully, you know, with the new regime and all that stuff, you know, they have an attitude, a winning and you know, a winning mentality and attitude. Yeah. So we'll see, man. I'm just pumped.
And you know, shout out to the media team over there for the Panthers, because they've been really telling those stories of these new guys and, as I like to say, new faces in new places, how they fit in, what's different about Carolina, what they like about Carolina. Right. Of course, you know, they got an entire series about these new people, right?
Right.
You know, Coach Reich, what he's going to do. Bryce Young, you know, how is he feeling coming into this? The pressure of being that number one pick, that number one guy.
You got to educate people, man, too. You know, I mean, you can only read so much, you know, from different media sources or you know, but to see that on there, you know, it's obviously always going to be pro and positive, right? Yeah. But that's fine, though, because you want that, too. You know, you want to see that excitement on that side. And they give you insider information a little bit, you know, that you want to hear, you know?
That stuff you can't always get from the sidelines. That stuff, you know, that even us, you know, they might be privy to a couple more, you know, we can get a little closer. We don't get that close.
No, you really don't. It's always the X's and O's questions. It's always the X and O's responses. Yeah. That's how it is.
Yeah. But I'm definitely excited. I think coming into the season, just like my overall kind of season preview for the Panthers, I think there's a lot of expectation. I think there's a lot of excitement. But I think, you know, we're going to have to be patient. You know, I wonder what you guys are thinking out there, because, like, you know, let me know, you know, in the comments, what do you think? What's your realistic expectations? I think for me, there's a lot to be excited about.
I think so too.
There really is. There's a lot of new guys. There's veteran guys. There's veteran leadership. That defense should pick up where it left off. But then at the same time, you hope so. But then at the same time, because there's so many new pieces, that takes time to mesh. That preseason after the preseason, that's gonna be big. But you got to take that first 4 weeks kind of with a grain of salt a little bit. But the tough part is, you know, you're looking at a couple of division games to start early on.
The bat, man. Yeah, they're not the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Who get Detroit? Not saying Detroit's a layup, because they're not. But it's out of division. You're like, oh, we lost that game, okay. But you go on week 1 and week 2, back-to-back division games. You could be out of the race looking up. If you go on 2, you're, oh my gosh, how are we gonna, you know, all of a sudden, and then you get out of schedule, right, or out of the actual South schedule, and then you get back into it after your bye. So it's like, it's tough. It's tough to have that 0-2 in the back of your mind, because you're like, man, now all of a sudden you're kind of behind the 8 ball here.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I think when it comes down to it, I'm gonna preface this, and I'm gonna say, don't be surprised if the Panthers, after 4 or so weeks, end up 1-3.
Yeah.
All right. Or at 500.
Okay.
Not because the expectation isn't there, not because the talent isn't there, but once again, it's going to take a little bit of time. This is going to take some time to you know, this is chili. Yeah. You know, this ain't microwave popcorn. This is chili. Okay. This going to take some time to get moving and grooving.
DJ, but we live in a day right now where, so, you know, hey, we want results yesterday.
That's true.
Okay, we want results yesterday.
That's true.
All right.
You know, I started working out a week ago. I want my abs. Okay, I want them. I wanted them the day I started. Okay.
Brother. Yeah.
Hey, you know.
No, I hear you, man, and it takes a little bit of time. You're right. It does. It's like that nice bowl of chili, man, that you want to eat immediately. You can't. You only just smell it. You waft it. You're like, all right, this is going to be a good bowl of chili.
Simmer a little bit.
Let it simmer a little bit. You got all the different beans and all that stuff in there. Hey, maybe Young's the cheese. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? You got everything else brewing, and he's that
little extra.
That little extra that makes it just right. Yeah. It'll be, I don't know, man. I want to say it's exciting. It's nerve-wracking because, man, Atlanta, you know, if you look at their offense, they kind of did some, you know, just looking at, you know, their offense, what they can do versus the defense coming back for the Panthers. And like you said, man, new scheme on offense and defense too. Yeah. Timing's going to be critical, man, and it's going to come down to not making mistakes, obviously, right? And I think it's going to come down to the kicking too, because it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a close game. So it'll be interesting to see how they grow too. If they do lose, it's a nail biter or something like that. I do think that they will be competitive. I don't think it's going to be. It can go either way, you know. And I think they're going to be. I think it's going to be. I think it is.
I don't think so.
So what do you mean?
I don't think so. I think the Panthers offense, I think they're going to come out firing.
You think so?
You know, and like I said, I might be contradicting myself a little bit by saying they could start slow.
Yeah.
But there's something about that first game of the season. Nobody knows what to expect. Man. Yeah. You know, I don't know what to expect. I don't have film on you yet, Bryce Young. I don't know what you're going to do.
I know.
And
it's true.
But by that logic, it could still be close, but with some scoring added to it. But then I'm thinking about Atlanta. I'm thinking about that offense. I'm thinking about what that offense could be. Yeah. They're going to lean on Bijan Robinson, right?
You think so? I mean, Ritter obviously at quarterback, and then you have Pitts coming back from last year. So they have some guys that have kind of been around each other. Patterson, if he plays, he's questionable. You know, the pride of Rock Hill. You got to shout them out. But it'll be interesting. Like you said, it comes down to experience. It comes down to guys playing with each other. Not necessarily league experience, but playing, the timing of all that stuff, the calls. I like that, though. I hope you're right. I hope he's right, because I want them to score points, man.
Because the hardest thing, I think, right now to defend in the league is that quarterback that can move around, that can extend the play. Sure. That's why Russell Wilson was so dangerous when he first came out, because he had this Houdini-like way of extending plays. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes is successful at it because he can move around. He don't have to take the sack.
Right.
You know, he can move around a little bit. And Bryce Young, because of his height, he's going to have to move around.
He's going to have to move around for sure. And I think what I do like about Young, what I have seen in the preseason, is that he uses his legs as more of a smart playmaker, meaning like, hey, I got to go pick up a first down. I got to escape pressure or trouble. He's not out there knowing, hey, I'm going to read one route and I'm going. You know what I mean? Which is,
and sometimes I think that's not his style of play either.
Like, he wants to use his head.
Yeah, his style of play is, I'm going to move around, but I'm always looking down.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm always looking to find that.
Yeah, which makes him deadly, man, which is awesome. So I think I hope the offensive line holds up. I know that's obviously a big question mark, but I think they should. We'll see. You know, hopefully, preseason's preseason. You can't really weigh on it too much, but some of those you're like, oh man, it might be a long season if something happens to them. But hey, they do have a good insurance policy in Dalton. If hopefully, I'm not knocking on wood that something bad happens, but I'm just saying at least they do have a backup that's capable. Yeah. Of winning. So
now that you've seen the preseason, you've seen training camp and all that, you've seen the highlights coming out, anything like, do you feel any differently about the Panthers, or you still feel about the same as you did, when we first came out in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think the last game versus the Jets, I saw more of those two drives that Young was in. I did like him going to Thielen, the touchdown. It was just more of, not necessarily throwing the touchdown, that's great, but the placement where he threw it. He also had a first down scamper, a scramble that he stepped up in the pocket, saw the opening, and he had a receiver streaking, right? He could have elected to go to him, but I think he saw the sticks too, and the receiver kind of dragged along with him, and he, it was kind of not a screen, but in that terms of like, hey, he's helping him out because the cornerback is covering the receiver, like, who do I cover, So that's a smart play. So things like that I love. There was another miss. It was a passing completion. It was in the red zone. It was early, I think, first quarter, but he could have probably threw up a 50-50 ball in the end zone, but he put enough on it for it to go out of the end zone and into so he was throwing it away. Yeah. And so I like that too, because
put it where only your receiver can get it. If not, it's out of bounds.
It's out of bounds. You can tell if you watch the replay, you're like, oh wow, he definitely meant to throw that out of bounds. It wasn't just a bad throw. Yeah. So I like the mentality. I love the IQ. I do like his poise. That's one thing that they've been talking about in the locker room is the poise, right? So we'll have to wait and see, man, how those linemen protect him, how the runnings, the Hubbard and Sanders, I know he's gonna play. Yeah. But it's like, man, I mean, a groin injury, like that's something to me is just it's not a red flag, but I mean it's definitely a yellow. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I hope he does really well. I really want to see shades of Sanders from a few years ago, and I hope he's just he's not battling that injury, because the groin injury throughout the season, man, those linger for a long time.
Something, it's interesting because I feel like there hasn't been a quarterback in quite some time that's came in with this amount of talent around.
A lot of hype in town.
You got a former first round pick tight end out there in Hayden Hurst. Yeah. Right. You got DJ Chark, who has shown, hey, I can run the route tree. I got chemistry with Bryce Young. Yep. Right. We know Thielen's gonna get open. Yeah. I don't care what anybody says about him. Thielen, you can say he's getting older. You can say it wasn't a splash, Gary Brode. Right. You can say it wasn't a splash.
Gary, man,
Gary said it. Okay. But I think that Adam Thielen is. I think he's going to be almost like an X Factor a little bit. Yeah. I mean, so. Jonathan Mingo could potentially be an X Factor too. But I think Adam Thielen is going to be kind of the sure thing guy. Right. I think Hayden Hurst could be that guy too.
I think so too, man. And that's honestly what you need, especially out of guys who have been in the league. You need a guy that you can lean on. It's like if you look back to that Super Bowl team with Cam, he had Jericho Cotchery, and he had Ted Ginn Jr. I mean, hey, those guys are great players, but those guys were on the older side of the game, and Ginn was still fast and stuff. But I mean, hey, he had guys that had been there that knew how to win. So It's going to be an interesting thing. I think they're going to be competitive throughout the entire season. I really do. Obviously, it depends on the health. I hope the offense can stay on the field. Is what I.
Do you see
about.
a 10-win season in their future? Or
No, it's funny.
Tough?
Okay, so if I want to fast forward here, I printed out the schedule here. That was actually took me a while. They had like schedules from 2015, man. I'm like, what's going on here? Which is that was a good year for the Panthers. Don't get me wrong. But so I have two different ones. One, I have them going 9-8, 4-2 in the division. That's
pretty good.
My positive side. That's the glasses half full side.
Okay.
My glass half empty side. 6-11, which isn't bad. 3-3 in the division. So I can see the division. We've talked about it before. It's wide open. I feel like there's not one clear-cut team other than maybe New Orleans. Yeah. Who I think, so that puts you at week 2 again, hosting New Orleans. If the Panthers can, I don't want to say steal that game from the Saints. The Saints, look, their defense is really good. Okay, they've got all these returning players. You got Derek Carr, who probably has a chip on his shoulder, and he's got the talent around him. So that's going to be an interesting game there. That could be, honestly, for the division, week 2, when you look further down the road, you're like, oh, you remember that one game when we made that one mistake versus New Orleans and they escaped with that 2-point win or something, or we missed a field goal or something like that. That's going to be the game, So we'll see, man. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but yeah, I got them, my positive side, 9-8. And you know what? Even reading on Sports Illustrated, they had them 8-9. And Fox Sports also had them at 9-8. But, taking that into consideration, no one knows what's going to happen. Yeah. What do you think? You think a 10-win team?
10 wins is tough.
Yeah.
Because I think 10 wins is almost like my floor for a lot of really good teams this year.
Yeah, I think so too.
And it's not to say the Panthers aren't going to be really good.
Just across the league, man. Talent's better.
It's just, but the time it's going to take to get right.
Right. Yeah.
I think that 9-8, I think it's a good number.
I don't think it's really bad.
I think because 9-8 still gets you in the playoffs. I think 4-2 in the division. There's no way you don't make the playoffs.
The thing about
you don't win the division.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you not win the division like that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think as long as they're a 500 ball, which I think they are capable of doing, I think they'll be fine. 6-11, like I said, that could be. I had them going on a 6-game losing streak. After they beat Houston in Week 8. Yeah. So that's just kind of you never know what's going to happen.
Let me see that real quick.
Yeah.
I just want to see. All right, I want to sit on this 6-game stretch. So you got Indy. So you're saying Indy will be back right. Anthony Richardson will be slinging it around. Okay. Chicago. I feel like they're going to beat Chicago. I don't know what it is.
It's at Chicago.
It's that revenge factor that I think the Panthers are going to have over Chicago.
Yeah, well, that or
it goes both ways.
That or DJ Moore's going to catch for 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. I don't know.
You don't think JC's going to shut him down? Possibly.
I hope so.
But then they got Chase Claypool. They got
they got some dudes. And the thing is, it's in Chicago in November. It's going to be colder. Not saying the Panthers can't play in cold weather. They're professionals.
Dallas, that's tough.
But it's tough. Dallas at home.
Oh, they'll beat Tennessee. Come on now.
I don't know. At Tennessee, I don't even know who's Tennessee.
Is that what I'm saying? Who's quarterback?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But at that point, like I said, I have them going on a losing streak because
I can see that though.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know. Tampa Bay is a big question mark too. There's a lot of this schedule is. Look, they can either do really well and set themselves up for the playoffs, or they can be young and they can be inexperienced, and then come week 11 or 12. We're back in here, and they're in the middle of a losing streak. I'm going to save this. I'm going to put this on my desk.
And you're going to laminate it.
I'm going to laminate this guy. So, because I love doing this. But then we'll discuss and see where they're at. Because that's the thing, too, with teams that are inexperienced. Or maybe they have a mixture of more youth than the vets. All of a sudden, you kind of snowball, and then it's a matter of stopping the snowball. And maybe guys get hurt, and then all of a sudden that adds to the snowball. So, hopefully that doesn't happen. And you know what? Maybe Frank Reich's old team, the Colts, maybe they do win that game. So I do have them winning that game on my 9-8 side. So I have a lot, but we'll have to wait and see, man. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's exciting, and it's definitely exciting right now because you just don't know what to expect. You don't know who's going to come out laying egg. You don't know who's going to come out start 0-4. Yeah, you don't know any of it.
Everyone.
Everyone's an even playing field right now. The team that's going to have the number 1 overall pick next season, we got no idea right now.
It could be the Panthers. We don't know.
It could be the Cardinals.
It could be the Cardinals. It could be. There's so many teams out there, which makes it so much fun, right? I'm so excited for it, man. I really can't wait. I don't know. I hope they really play well, man. I just don't know, like I said, about Sanders and Hubbard and how that's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't really seen much of the offensive scheme in the preseason, man. So we have no idea.
They've kept the poker faces,
which is good. Yeah, you don't want to show off too much, man. But you're like, give me something.
Yeah, you just want a little sneak peek,
taste, man. Just a little sneak peek.
You know, because there's so many different wrinkles I think we'll see, and I think that's why they have the potential to be very successful this season, because you simply just don't know.
Yeah.
Right. You know, that's why it feels like young quarterbacks come out and just out of nowhere just blow you up.
Right.
Brock Purdy last year. Who would have thought?
That's a good example, man.
Right?
I would not have.
Coaching,
Mr. Irrelevant.
Right?
Yeah.
Good coaching and him coming out
him
coming out and playing as a talented quarterback.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes you think, what are they going to do this year too?
Yeah.
You know, so many.
You got to put guys in position to be successful, right? So hopefully they do that. Hopefully they have the talent around them, you know, young that can happen. I am worried about Brian Burns though. Yeah. I don't know what's going on there. There's it's almost like a soap opera, right? About his contract and all that stuff. Like he's definitely earned whatever he's gonna try and get. But he didn't practice on Monday. But I suppose it's like personal reasons or whatever. But hopefully, I know his mind's right from what I was reading too. He's obviously gonna play. But so I hope that doesn't. I don't think that'll be an underlying storyline. I hope it's not. Because sometimes you have to have something to talk about, right? During the season, you know how it goes. So. Maybe he's not performing by week 3 or 4. Then all of a sudden the story is, well, Brian Burns has the contract on his mind. Yeah. Well, these guys are professionals, man. They want to win just like anyone else. So.
That's true. And I mean, you know, for a team that was also close last year, I think Brian Burns is, you know, being on the team, he understands, like we were right there. We got our guy now.
Yeah.
All we got to do is take one step forward.
I know, man.
You know, you improve that 1%. Hey.
I think they are on the right track, man. And obviously, you know, Rome wasn't built in one day or whatever the saying is. But it takes a little bit of time.
Yep.
It's going to be growing pains. I just hope that the expectations are realistic for Young and not, well, he did this in Alabama. Well, you know, he did. He's a great quarterback. We've seen it. He's a great leader. But you also have to give him a little bit of time.
Yeah, you have to. You have to, because I mean, I think there's a couple other teams. Chicago, we talked about before. Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of expectation on them because what we saw, those special flashy plays we saw from Justin Fields, but I think they're a year away from being where they want to be.
Every team is, right? Oh, we drafted Justin Fields. Well, what happened? He's literally year 2 or, you know, now going to year 3. You have to give him a little bit of time. Yeah. He doesn't have anyone there.
Got some weapons.
Yeah, finally.
This could be the year where you see a little bit more of a breakout.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like Cleveland in 2018, right? Like all the expectation, every bit of expectation, but there was disappointment because there was so much expectation. Yeah. And you're trying to fit all these great players, all these egos in the same locker room.
Yeah, man, you can't do it. I know. Hopefully, it's always interesting, man. We only can paint certain pictures, man, of what's really going on in the locker room. You know, and the good thing, though, I think Reich and the front office and the coaches have the right group of guys. You know, which is what you need. You know, so hopefully that's the case. Hopefully we're not. You know, hopefully when is the bye week? The bye week, week 7. I don't mind that bye week. I think that's a long stretch though, because you got 11 games after that. You don't want that bye week around week 10 or so. But
that's where you said
that's where you are.
That streak comes in, that losing streak comes in, because that bye week's so early.
Yeah, I think like I said, I think they beat Houston. Then they have the Colts at home, so we'll see. That could be an interesting game. There's the Richardson. We'll see how he's playing. Who knows? A lot of injuries could be happening. It's hard to predict the future.
Health is going to be a big thing for a lot of teams too.
Oh yeah, everybody, man. The thing is too, like you mentioned, everybody's really competitive. Yeah, which I love that too. So
it's going to be
interesting to see what happens.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's jump into this Carolina Atlanta game. Okay. Who you got? We're gonna start with that for our picks.
Oh man, I like the Panthers. I don't know, something in me's telling them that I think they can win. They're only 3.5 point dogs from what I've seen. So I'm like, there's just a feel they're pretty much neck and neck essentially. Yeah. I did mention the kickers. So they have Koo, who's with the, you know, he loves kicking there. The only reason why I know so much about him is because I have him on my fantasy football roster. Okay, but Dynasty.
He's a good kicker to have.
That's why I know he's a good kicker to have. That's why I know this more inside. So I think maybe it comes down to something like that, and he's going to make his field goals. Yeah. And our kicker Pinheiro, I don't have as much faith in him as I would as him. So as Koo. So. But yeah, like we mentioned earlier, I think Atlanta does have a talented offense. You look at who they got: Bijan Robinson, Patterson, Algier, who stepped up from BYU last year, had a good rookie year. Drake London, Matt Collins, Kyle Pitts, and Hodges.
And Matt Collins, I mean, he's bulked up like a tight end.
He's 6'4". Like, you get two guys that are 6'4". Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've seen his transformation, but he's much stronger.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like he's ready to take that next step. I mean, they could be a sneaky good team. I think people are forgetting about the other two teams in that division because, New Orleans, they're flashy. It's NOLA,
Yeah,
Carolina's got the number 1 overall pick,
Yeah.
Hey, we got to go with them, but then,
Falcons are grinding, yeah.
Put Baker in the right situation. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, come on. Are you serious?
I watched him dot up a really good Ravens defense for years and years.
Yeah, true. No, that's true. You're right. Okay, so you do have okay. I will give you the street cred for that. But that Baker then versus Baker now, I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm just teasing, man. I'm just teasing. But yeah, so I don't know. I think it's going to come down. So like I said, the offense has to control the line of scrimmage. They have to make sure they're on the field. Mm-hmm. They can score. Yep. Maybe like even to around like the 20, 21, 24-point range, they have a shot. I really do. I think that's the number for me. But they got to control the clock for sure. Mm-hmm. They can do that, and they give the defense a break because running that 3-4 scheme, those guys are going to be gassed. Those linebackers are going to be gassed. What do you think?
I think I'm going Carolina too.
Yeah. Did I persuade you, or did I?
No, okay. I think they might start slow.
Okay.
Right? I really do. I think they might start slow throughout the season, but I think they're going to come out running in this particular game, right? Because it's the first game of the season, kind of like I said before, you don't know what to expect.
Right.
And when a defense doesn't know what to expect, that's when they're at their most vulnerable, right? Yeah. So I think they're going to come out, they're going to score 24 to 30 points.
Okay.
And people are going to be like, who is this team?
Yeah.
They're going to put the league on notice from week 1.
I like that. I hope so.
I think that's what's going to happen.
I really hope so, man.
I think they might run into a buzzsaw in New Orleans the next week.
I think so,
right?
too.
Well, here, against New Orleans.
It'd be tough. That'll be a tough wake-up call.
Yeah. But I think that game will be close. I just think they're going to run into a really tough team.
Yeah. Because, New Orleans, historically, especially, their Saints defense is just usually pretty good. But I did also see a stat, too, which is the Panthers have won 8 times out of their last 29 trips down to Atlanta.
Wow, they live in rent-free over there.
Yeah, doing quick math, 8, 16, 24, that's less than 30%. So that's not a good stat, but I'm a stat guy when it comes to stuff like this for some stupid reason. But I do have a final score. 24-17, Panthers win. If they lose, 31-28.
Okay.
Those are my 2 picks.
I like that. I like that. I will say, before we get into the rest of the picks,
okay,
right, I will say this. Fantasy-wise, who you like it not only in this game but for the Panthers too?
Ooh, man, I do like Hurst as a tight end. I think he's going to be a really good outlet.
I got hosed for drafting Hayden Hurst.
Really?
Yahoo and ChatGPT hosed me for it.
Wow.
But at that time, I didn't have. They gave me a D- for my draft. They gave me a D-.
Draft?
Well, I didn't. At that point, that was my first tight end because I got to that round where everybody started taking tight ends. Yeah. I'm at the end of the round at this point.
Oh, man.
So Hayden Hurst may have been a reach at the time, but he was better than anybody else out there because he's going to be the one starting.
Yeah, I think that's a solid pick. I don't think he's.
I think he's a sneaky good pick.
I think so too. I think
Thielen's still a good pick. I think for a lot of people.
Thielen's going to be solid. He'll probably be maybe like a 7 or 8 kind of catch guy. Because
but if you're in
PPR, it around.
PPR, you'd be good.
Yeah. I wouldn't go with Sanders. I wouldn't go for her. I don't know. Like I said, the Sanders groin injury just kind of, it's a yellow flag. And if we're talking fantasy football, that's a cautionary.
Would you go Bryce Young?
No.
Or would you wait and see?
I would have to wait and see. Would I have him on my bench or something like that? Maybe like in a dynasty league where you draft guys? Yeah, definitely. Okay. So it's a little bit interesting there. But yeah, I think that's not a bad pick. Yeah. That's not a bad pick at all.
And while we're discussing this, I want to also know from you guys who'd you pick for fantasy, right? I'm gonna know your whole roster, but specifically Carolina Panthers guys too. Who's a good fit? Who's a good fit?
For sure.
I think for me,
and the defense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, defense. Yeah, that'd be a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, think Sanders will be a good pick.
You think so?
I think so. I think Sanders is going to pick up where he left off last year as long as he's healthy.
Yeah.
Right? As long as he's healthy. I mean, the Panthers have had a good reputation with running backs anyway. So, he could be the next guy in that lineage of guys.
Man. Yeah, I hope so too. I just don't know. I don't know if he's going to be more of a primarily third down back or how they're going to try to use him yet, So it'll be interesting to see. They do run the football well. We saw it at the end of last year, man. I mean, they just, was it against, I think, Seattle, where they just bloodied him in between, on the line of scrimmage. Like, this is unfair.
And I'm high on DJ Chark, but not in fantasy.
Yeah.
Just because there's so many guys.
There's so many guys, man.
Hayden Hurst is going to be a big one.
I think so, too. I think, Thielen and Hurst. Maybe Mingo, but I don't know. I feel like Mingo still has a lot of growing to. Yeah,
it's going to kind of depend.
Yeah, that's one thing I did notice on one of the preseason games was that Young had some pressure. I think they were playing a zone defense, and Mingo was in the middle, and I think Mingo sat in the zone. I think he did the right read if you're a receiver, right? But Young, the way he threw it, he was trying to lead him, and they would have been on the same page, and he would have caught. I mean, it was probably a touchdown. Mm-hmm. So I do like the fact that Mingo read the defense and understood the situation, but then Young obviously wanted him to keep going, and I think he was already kind of set. He didn't pick up on that. Yeah. But if they can get that chemistry down, especially two young guys, I mean that's going to be a really good threat to have down the stretch. And
I don't love defensive players in leagues.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan of playing that way. But
no, man.
I will say Brian Burns, as long as all this drama might be behind him, right? I think he's worth, because you got sacks from Brian Burns, you got tackles. Yeah, tackles for loss. Yeah, so all of that goes in there too.
And I really hope Shaq Thompson has a great year, man. Yeah. I think that guy, he's a veteran now. It's crazy to think of that. Yeah, but I hope he's a ball hawk. I hope he stays healthy and gets that defense right, know. But I think there are a couple guys on that team. You're like, all right, we'll see, but there's still a lot of question marks, man. I feel like the Riddler, with the question mark. So
So I want you guys to follow along with us here, because we about to wrap it up.
Okay.
But before we wrap it up, we got to get the picks for the rest of the league.
Oh man,
right? Just to see what people are thinking. People want to know what the Bay Area Sports team is saying. They want to know. So follow along as we go along. So let's start. We already said Carolina over Atlanta. I think we both said that.
Yeah, Carolina.
Detroit at Kansas City. Thursday night football.
Yeah,
going Detroit with the upset.
I don't know Detroit with the upset. I like that.
I like a good upset to start the season. Too. I just do. You know, imagine Detroit coming in and beating Kansas City.
Yeah, that would be
the Super Bowl hangover. All of that.
Kansas City always plays flat early in the seasons too. I feel like that's a possible upset, but I don't know if they're going to be ready to play even without Travis Kelce and try to make a statement maybe without him, or it's a good excuse. To lose. And Detroit's not a bad team. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. That's a good pick. I like that though. That's a good sleeper pick.
And I know everybody just turned the podcast off for that 1 second because they heard I picked Detroit over Kansas City. But come on back. I know y'all are still listening. Y'all just turned the video off. Come on back. Okay. Cincinnati at Cleveland. Little AFC North action right there.
Ooh, that's a tough one right out of the gate. I think the Bengals win by like a field goal. I think it comes down to the very last second. So I'm going to say Cincy.
So Cincy starts out slow. They just do. They're one of those teams. They have those weird little lull periods where they start out slow.
Right.
So I'm going to go Cleveland.
Okay.
I think Deshaun Watson with a real offseason behind him. Yeah. I think before he had to take a year and a half off. Yeah. Right. Yeah. He was balling. Right. He didn't really have bad seasons. He was right there. Yeah. Right. So with a real off season, back at it again. Okay. I think I think Cleveland's gonna be dangerous.
Okay. I like that. Okay. Well, I'm going Cincy, just because I don't know. I don't like the Browns. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just not a fan. But I'm gonna go Cincy on that one.
Okay. Okay. Jacksonville at Indianapolis.
Oh, Jacksonville for sure. I think they're going to be a really good team. Mm-hmm. I can see them winning probably 9 or 10 games for some reason. I don't know. Trevor Lawrence, you got Etienne. Did they get Ridley? I feel like they picked up someone else.
They did.
Yeah, they have Ridley. They're stacked. So I don't know. I like Jacksonville in that one for sure.
Don't cancel me, yo. Jacksonville is prone for disappointment.
True.
I just think last year they had that it was almost like a miracle run. Yeah. Right? somehow they was beating everybody. They was beating the Ravens. They was beating everybody.
Yeah.
You know, they were beating guys they felt like they shouldn't have beat. Then they got in the playoffs. They get 4 picks by Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. And somehow, because the Chargers going Charger, right? They somehow win that game.
I know. I don't know how, man. They had that on replay a few weeks ago, man, and I watched the ending of that. And I'm like, how did they do that? No, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I got to go Jacksonville.
I think I'm going to go Jacksonville, too.
Okay.
This is a weird pick because Indianapolis historically always loses to Jacksonville in Jacksonville. It don't matter if we suit up for Jacksonville.
Yeah, they do.
On Sunday. But they are playing in Indy.
True.
Right? So I think that streak will be broken because I think they're going to split games because they typically do.
Okay.
So I think because of Indy's newness, right? There's no Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
That's a big deal until
deal.
week 4.
Yeah.
I think that's going to affect them, especially with a young quarterback. So I'm going Jacksonville.
Okay.
I'm going Jacksonville.
Okay.
I'm gonna go safe pick on that one.
All
right. Tampa Bay at Minnesota. A lot of people think Minnesota's going to take a step back this year.
Yeah, I would think so too. I don't know. Madison's a stud with it behind Cook last year. The past couple of years, I should say. I think Minnesota. I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
I'm gonna agree with you on that one.
Okay.
I think losing Thielen is big, but replacing him with Jordan Addison.
Yeah.
That could be exactly what you need to kind of fill that gap.
And that's in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like they're a really good home team.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with them just based on historical value there.
And then we got Tennessee at New Orleans.
Ooh.
Tennessee, you have no idea what they're going to be right now.
Who's on
New Orleans, there's a lot of hope over there. We talk about them a lot with the NFC South. So
I'm gonna have to go with the Saints. I feel like being from the Bay Area and being a Raiders guy, my boy Derek Carr, I think is gonna try to make a statement for the Saints, and then come back down to reality the following week against Carolina. But
I wouldn't be surprised if Derek Carr ends up in the MVP conversation this year.
I hope so, man.
I think that chip on his shoulder, he's finally got a team that actually believes in it.
Actually play defense.
Yep. Yeah. And it's not as toxic.
Yeah,
the Raiders have been toxic for a while.
They have. A lot of stuff going there.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm going New Orleans too.
Okay.
Because you just don't know what you're gonna get from Tennessee. I think they got DeAndre Hopkins, they got Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
There's potential there, right? But I think we gotta know what they're gonna be first.
Yeah, I think it's probably a pretty good game too.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, definitely. San Francisco at Pittsburgh.
See, I feel like that could be a sleeper too. Yeah, I don't know. Pittsburgh's got a lot of. It's in Pittsburgh. San Francisco. They have all the guys. CMC, they have all the guys.
Is Brock Purdy playing week 1?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't think he is either.
I think he's still getting himself back.
Yeah, I'm not
There's
sure.
No
I haven't seen any
anymore,
headline or anything from him. Yeah. I want to say Pittsburgh. I'm going to go Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I'm going to say Pittsburgh.
I'm going San Francisco on that one.
Okay.
I think the defense.
Their defense.
The defense plays well.
Actually, yeah.
I think they figure out a way to win this game. I know it's tough. I know it's enemy territory.
Yeah.
The terrible towels will be going, but I think San Francisco
will find a way to get to pick it for sure.
Yeah, I think that's how that goes. Arizona at Washington.
Washington and a nail biter. I'm talking, and I mean nail biter. I mean by put me to sleep because it's going to be probably like a 10-3 game or something like that.
I think a lot of people, kind of like you just said, they sleeping on Sam Howell.
Yeah.
This Eric Bieniemy led team, offensively at least. I think Washington could turn the corner. I got a friend of mine from back home who he gave up his Washington colors for the terrible towels. Okay.
Wow.
I think now I think this will be the time where he regrets this.
I think they'll be pretty. I think they're a good team.
I think Washington's gonna sneak up on some people.
Yeah.
I think so. Scary Terry out there too.
Yeah.
So we're both going Washington on that one.
Come on, man. I'm going Washington for sure.
Both going Washington
Their
on
defense
that
will shut
one.
them down.
Houston at Baltimore.
We gotta go with the Ravens here. Come on.
Yeah.
Right. And you think that's gonna be? You think that's gonna be a bloodbath? Then they'll make a statement.
I think they will.
Yeah.
I think Houston's defense. I think this is gonna. This is my honest opinion. I think this is gonna make Houston's defense look bad, but I don't think they're going to be as bad as they look in this.
Gotcha.
Game. Because once again, we're talking about a new offensive scheme, weapons all over the place. Finally,
right.
Yeah. So having Lamar Jackson back.
Not having to always lean on Andrews. Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't be surprised if Zay Flowers goes off in this game. I mean, this is the first time in a long time that, and I think ever, honestly, since these guys have been drafted, that you're going to see just these guys in particular. So Lamar on the same field with J.K. Dobbins, on the same field with Rashad Bateman, on the same field with Mark Andrews.
That's awesome.
And they've been on the team for 2 or 3 years now.
Been hurt. Yeah.
So this could be big.
All right.
This
could be statement game from Baltimore.
I think so.
All right.
Green Bay at Chicago. No more Aaron Rodgers.
No, man. Yeah, I think Chicago pulls off. I mean, I don't even know if it's an upset or not, but I think somehow Chicago wins this game. I don't know how. Maybe just because, no more Aaron Rodgers. They're tired of getting bagged on by the Packers, all that stuff.
You're in Chicago.
You're in Chicago. You're trying to turn over a new leaf, make sure Justin Fields is going to try to come out hot, silence the critics and the naysayers right off the bat with a big win. That would be a huge win.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's something's telling me that Chicago could lose this game just because they're going to start slow. They got new faces in new places.
Yeah, that could be another ugly game too in terms of scoring.
But I'm gonna go with them to get this win. They're gonna finally get over that hump of Green Bay.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Finally.
I think that's how it's gonna be. Vegas at Denver.
Ooh, I like Vegas. I know. Because I'm a Raiders fan, right?
Yeah, sure.
But I think that also there's a lot of question marks in terms of. I don't know how the defense is going to be. Their defense is always just historically bad the past 5-6 years. So I don't know. I feel like that could be a game too that. We'll see how Jimmy G plays. I don't know. I think Josh Jacobs is going to be running like a madman because of his new or all that ordeal too. So that's one of those games too. That's a rivalry right out of the gate for both those teams. So it's going to be interesting to say the least.
And for the Jimmy G doubters, another chance for him to prove once again that
I hope so, man.
He's that guy.
Well, I mean, shoot, he's had that injury pretty much all preseason. I think he played maybe the last game, one series or something like that, which is fine. Don't get the guy hurt. He's just coming off of back-to-back surgeries.
Yep.
So we'll see. I don't know.
For me,
how are you going to go Denver?
This is Denver. Let me try to preface this because you got the Chargers in that division too.
Yeah.
I think Denver will be the reason if the Chiefs don't make the playoffs, Denver will be why.
Wow.
Sean Payton is there now.
Yeah.
I think Russell Wilson is going to have a bounce back year.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a big year for Jerry Jeudy and those guys, right? Cortland Sutton and those guys. So I think Denver gets his early win.
Okay. Right.
I think Denver shows last year was last year.
Okay.
It's a new
I like that. Okay.
Philadelphia at New England.
Oh man. Philadelphia. Okay. You have to, right? I mean, they're flying high on their season last year, so I think that kind of continues. I do think it's not going to be nearly the cakewalk that I think most people think, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going Philadelphia too.
Okay.
There's something about New England, Mac Jones at the helm. It just ain't.
They're gonna get after him. Yeah, the Eagles are gonna get after him.
It ain't given. I just don't think it's given. So I'm going Philadelphia on that one. You got Miami at Los Angeles, the Chargers.
Ooh, man. I'll say Miami's going to win.
Tua's back and healthy.
Yeah. I mean, I think that and that
those
also,
weapons they got out there.
Yeah, I'm just going Miami. I think Miami's going to – I don't know what the spread is or if they're favored or not. I think a lot of teams on the road aren't favored unless you're, the top tier teams. But it should be a good game, man. I think Miami's going to win this one too. Yeah. And I think it's going to come down to, interceptions. Yeah. Who's going to throw less? Tua or Herbert? Herbert loves to throw. I mean, I love how he plays because the dude takes shots downfield, which is what I love. Sometimes they're not the right ones, but I mean, like you mentioned, the game against Jacksonville. So, I just think Miami's going to win.
Yeah, I think this one's tough because I think the Chargers are another team that's kind of prone for disappointment.
For sure. Yeah.
And I think the reason is everybody can't make it in the AFC. It's too much going on. It's too much going on.
There is.
And Miami's going to be good.
Yep.
I think this is Miami's chance to finally get over the hump of Buffalo. Because health is going to be their biggest thing, right?
For sure.
If Tua can stay healthy, they can protect Tua. not let him take some of those hits, and with the concussions and everything.
I mean, and honestly, if anything, this is almost like a wild card game in terms of if you can't win your division, you need to beat this other team like now. So that's a good game. That's a really good matchup.
That's a really good game.
Matchup. Sure.
Probably be that game of the week for the 425 block.
Okay.
But I'll say. I'm gonna say Miami too.
Okay.
I think this is a coin toss type of a game. You know, because either one of these teams, they're both gonna be good. So
yeah, for sure. High scoring, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going Miami. So rounding out the 425 games, we got the LA Rams going up against the Seattle Seahawks.
Ooh, man, I think honestly Seattle has a lot to prove. I think they've had the past couple of years they've been really. They're not who they were. I think Pete Carroll is going to have these guys ready to go. On the Rams side of it, you got Stafford back. You got guys that are back that are hopefully healthy for them because it was kind of disappointing to see how poorly their season kind of just crumbled last year.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like Seattle's defense is going to try to turn it up. Seattle's they always have a good defense.
Okay.
So I think they're going to make Stafford uncomfortable, and I think
they're playing in Seattle. It's always hard.
Seattle. So I think Seattle's going to pick up the W, and I also think right out of the gate, Matt Stafford's going to be feet to the fire.
Yeah,
right out of the gate.
I think Seattle is another one of those teams where I'm thinking they might take a step back.
Okay.
Because I think they shocked everybody last year. Geno Smith, after years of not being a starter, comes out, and I mean, shout out to him though. Like that. Like you talking about a guy who just persevered. And and I can't help but root for him.
I thought he was still on the Jets.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No,
I know.
Jaw still take
I know, man. Geno, man. I know. I'm like, this guy's still in the league.
It's crazy, man. But for him to come out there and play in the way that he did last year, that's impressive.
I feel like Carroll just makes it manageable. That's all you have to do is make it manageable, try not to, limit your mistakes. Don't be a hero, and you win ball games.
Yep. I think for that one, like I said, I think Seattle comes back down to earth. I think the Rams will be back this year. I think they were bitten by the injury bug.
Yeah, they were.
And it bit them a lot last year.
Yeah,
so I think they'll be back.
Okay, all right.
I'm going Rams.
That's not a bad pick. Yeah.
Sunday night football.
Okay.
Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants.
Oh man, I really want the Giants to win. So I'm gonna go. What's that?
I said, but will they?
Yeah, probably not. I'll probably say Dallas will, but I'm gonna put the Giants down.
Okay.
Just because I do not like the Dallas Cowboys whatsoever.
Okay.
But that's just you always just have a team you just don't like, right?
Yeah, I would say for no reason, but they are Dallas. Anyway,
they are Dallas. Yeah. What do you think?
Cowboys at the Giants.
The Giants now, I mean, DJ. All of a sudden, their ceiling got elevated after last year too. Going into Minnesota, winning the playoffs.
That's true.
All of a sudden, Darren Waller, they got some dudes out there.
Daniel Jones is my guy.
Okay.
I mean, he's always been.
Yeah.
Anybody who gets booed in New York, right? After being drafted, they become my guy, okay? I'm just going to be honest. I think this is going to be a breakout year for the New York Giants. Finally. I can finally say that with confidence. I really think it is.
Okay.
I think Daniel Jones is going to prove that
he's worth
better than people think he is, right? Worth the contract that he just got.
Right.
They finally got some weapons around him. Last year, I mean, look at what Brian Daboll did with.
I was surprised, man. Yeah.
I don't know who.
That's another team.
Professional players, but I didn't know them personally, right?
Yeah.
I didn't scout them in the scouting department. So they're going to get better.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to be better because there's weapons around them. Saquon's going to be back. He's probably going to be as close to 100% as he's been in the last couple of years.
He'll be running angry too.
Yeah.
That guy. I like that. Yeah, I think. So you think the Giants are going to?
Yep. I think the Giants win that game.
I hope so. Like I said, at Dallas, I don't know. They're almost like the New York Yankees in baseball. I just don't want to see the pinstripes win. That's just me.
All right. So Monday Night Football ending out the week. We got Buffalo at New York. So Buffalo Bills, New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers playing at home, his new home against Buffalo.
Dang, that's
a good game.
Yeah,
especially now that Rodgers is over there. It's a good game.
I'm gonna say the Jets shock everybody and win this game.
I think they do too.
I think they have the defense. I think don't know, man. Maybe something. The Bills somehow how they ended up their year last year just really kind of was like, man, is that just that snow game in the playoffs? Yeah, I was just so disappointed in how they just got their what's handed to them by the Bengals. Game was over in like the first 5 minutes. Yeah. And I've been there as a Raiders fan. I've been to a playoff game where that happens, and you're like,
it's not fun, though. It's
not. You can hear a pin drop. That's how you're just. Oh my gosh, this is over already, and it's in the first quarter.
Yeah, I'll say I think Buffalo's another one of those teams that's prone for disappointment.
Okay,
and not because they're not good, but look at that division. I mean, they're stacked. But New England, the jury's still out on New England, but they're still New England, right? They're still well coached. They're gonna sneak a couple games in, sure. Especially in the division.
Yep,
right.
I agree.
Miami. I mean,
it's just all of a sudden.
They're one of the most talented teams there are. New York might be the best defense in there, and you add Aaron Rodgers. I don't know why people feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to have an off year. Name an off year Aaron Rodgers had, but I mean, last year maybe that's all you're going to give him.
Right.
His other off year, he was injured.
Yep.
So
I agree.
I mean,
I think maybe the offness will come because of guys not playing with each other.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
But I mean, I don't know, man.
But that defense just gonna pick up where they left off.
That's the thing. It's at home. It's Monday night.
You got Sauce Gardner on defense. He's gonna shut some people down.
That defense is awesome, man.
Brees Hall will be back.
Yeah. Williams, I think, is the tackle.
Dalvin Cook, I think. Yeah. Because he's on the Jets, we forget he's on the Jets.
Yep. It'll be interesting. I think they have a lot of toys to play with now.
They do.
I know one of our chief meteorologists, Nicole Madden, that's on Rising with me. She's a big Jets fan, so she doesn't mind me saying that. And she does like the Panthers too. Don't get me wrong, but
the Jets still have a heart.
For sure. So I know she's excited. Now, was she excited about Rodgers? She was like, I don't know,
I mean,
so
better than Zach Wilson, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, there's a lot of drama that comes with Rodgers, but
I know. We'll see. Hey, as long as you win, you can tolerate it.
You do what you got to do. You do what you got to do. But let's go ahead and wrap this show up. It's a little bit longer than usual.
It's okay. It's a lot to dive into.
It was a lot. It was a lot. We got a full Panthers preview in this show. Man. We got a full pick show in this show. Yeah. I mean, it's 3 shows in one, okay?
I appreciate it,
it's 3. Yeah. We talked about fantasy football. It's 3 shows in one.
We did. I appreciate the time, man. You know me, I'm always around.
We covered it all. But Lawrence will definitely be back once again. Appreciate you. As always, you can see him on WCCB News Rising every morning. Yeah. Every morning, get up bright and early. Bright and early with Lawrence.
Please, I hope I'll have the play of the day, and it's from a Panthers win on Sunday. Hey, let's just hope that.
Monday, we'll see. We'll see what we see on Monday.
I know. But too. I'm keeping this bad boy. Like I said, I'm gonna try to laminate. Do you have a laminator?
I actually have a laminator.
You do?
Yeah, I got one.
DJ, coming through.
Do.
All right,
Look,
you have to laminate. Can you laminate this for me?
I got you.
Awesome.
I'm gonna laminate it for you. But definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. This has been the Keep Prowling podcast. We'll be back very, very soon to talk a little bit more Panthers action. As always, the Keep Prowling podcast is on all your major podcasting platforms. So be sure to tune in, add us into the queue with all your other Bay Hackle Sports podcasts as well. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the Keep Prowling podcast. And this has been, one more time, the Keep Prowling podcast. Until